Hi, Ashley. My name is Kelly. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm good. So before we get started, I just want to let you know, I just want to ask your permission to record this session.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, okay, good. With that consent, please know that at any time we can stop this recording, so it's completely up to you. And then I also wanted to make you aware that anything you do share is confidential, unless you talk about harming yourself or others, then I am a mandated reporter.
Okay, sure. I
Okay.
understand that.
All
Yeah.
right. So what brings you in today?
I'm just having some feelings of ambivalence with some major decisions that I am facing. Not necessarily right now, but in the near future. I'm not really sure what to do. I have a few options that I need to weigh out. Um, so really, I'm looking to kind of bounce those ideas off of somebody and maybe hearing them out loud will help me make a decision.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that you have some major decisions. What are those options that you have?
Okay. Um, so after I graduate in May, I am trying to decide if I want to continue on and get a bachelor's degree right away. Ultimately, that is a goal of mine, but it's whether or not to go right away into it or, take a little break.
Right.
Another option is just going, straight into work, getting back in the workforce because I've only been working part time for the past like year. And so I'm really kind of just missing that routine.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, um, moving to California. I recently came in contact with my biological father after never knowing him. He lives in California. We've been communicating, and he's expressed several times to me that after I graduate, he wants me to really consider moving out to California by him.
Okay. And so, I mean, continuing education and work and moving to California on a scale of 1 to 10, could you tell me how important is it to you for continuing education?
I think right now it's very important. I would rate it at a 9 or a 10. Um, Mainly because I feel like if I do take a break, I might not get back into it. I've kind of been in the swing of things already. I'm in that routine of schooling, and so
Right.
if I take too much of a break, um, I might not want to go back, or I might not have the motivation to go back to it right away. So, but ultimately, I do have a lot of value over continuing my education. It's something that's very important to me. Um, so ultimately, it is a big goal for me.
Okay. Um, and it sounds like if you if you stop your education after you graduate and don't continue, then you're fearful of the unknown of, what happens if I don't go back or procrastinate too
Yeah,
long.
yeah, definitely.
And then you said work was also another goal of yours. How important is it for you to get into the workforce?
Well, I have bills to pay,
Don't
and
we all?
yeah, and I have 4 kids to raise. So money obviously is going to be very important.
Right.
Um, but I almost feel like I'm going to have the rest of my life to work. And you know, at what point am I just working just to make money? Am I really fulfilling a dream? Um, am I being satisfied in my work?
Right.
Am I putting my education to use in my, where I'm working? So I think for me, work would probably be around a 6 or 7. Obviously, there's, some priority to having money and finances. I'm going to need to be able to pay for school. Um, but for the other, what I had already stated, those reasons are kind of what puts it a little bit lower on the scale.
Yeah, it's completely understandable. I mean, you want to make sure, like you said, you want your work to be fulfilling.
Yeah.
So I can definitely understand that. And continuing education is going to put you in a job where you do feel fulfilled.
Yeah. Yeah.
So moving to California, is that at all important to you? I am. What's on the scale? Where does it land?
So this is what's been very difficult for me, especially when I try to weigh out these decisions. you know, my entire life has been based around trying to find out who my biological father is, and the fact that I have now found him, is, I mean, it's absolutely incredible. Um, Starting to build that relationship with him, knowing who he is, gives me confidence.
Right.
That having a relationship with him would be beneficial for me and my kids. The fact that I have three brothers too that I've never met that I would really love to get to know. I've always had a really high value over family as well. It's very important to me.
Right.
So yeah, that is a very challenging question because it has a lot of value. However, because I don't know them, I don't know to what point do I put the priority on that. What if I move there and they're, I don't know, crazy or horrible people, which I mean, from my experience so far, I can imagine that they would be, but you never know. I've only just been talking to him for 4 months. So it's like talking on the phone and video chatting. So it's like, how much do you really know somebody?
Right. It's the
So,
fear of the unknown again.
mhm.
So, what keeps you uh, where you're at now? What keeps you um, here in Wisconsin versus out there?
I think the comfort. This is familiar to me. Um, I've done a lot of networking in my community. I've created a lot of relationships here that I also have value over, and so it's not like I just am willing to give those up either, you know. Um, but then I think about, well, I don't like the weather here mostly. Okay, I get anxiety driving, and then when it's snowing, it's even worse. So that kind of plays into it too, honestly. Um, yeah, I think it's just the familiarity of it. This is where I've, essentially grown up, and it's what I'm familiar with. I know how to get from here to there.
Right.
I know where to go if I need, I need resources. I know, um, yeah, it's familiar. It's cozy.
So, I, you sound very comfortable. And what does comfort look like to you? When you say you're comfortable, what is it exactly to
Um, I think just those things that I mentioned, being familiar, knowing where to go, if I need something or, um, yeah, it's just the familiarity, the routine of things is this, I don't know.
So, um, just to summarize a little bit, it sounds like you're fearful of the unknown. If you move to California, you don't know, and like you said, what if they're crazy?
Yeah,
I think is the term you used.
yeah,
And you did just meet him 4 months ago, you said, and
yeah,
so it's kind of like a bittersweet. It's very exciting to you that you get to actually meet your biological father
yeah,
and have conversations with him and know about him and your brothers. But it's also kind of a bitter feeling too because you, you don't know what you don't know,
right.
and um, you want to continue your education. You want to work, but you want it to be fulfilling.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, those are all um, good goals to have. Which one, if you had to choose, because you said you're comfortable right now,
Hmm.
would you choose? Which one do you see yourself leaning more toward?
I think ultimately, because continuing my education is such a large goal, um, and it's an ultimate goal
Mm-hmm.
that I'm most likely going to go that route. Also, another aspect of it is that there's some flexibility in my schooling. I feel comfortable knowing that I could probably get into any school. Um, I have already, researched and looked into like transferring, and I do have
Right.
some, good transfer rates of my credits to a program that I could do all online. So there's really some flexibility in my continuing education. So to me, it's kind of like, why wouldn't you?
Right. Okay. So you sound very very set on as continuing education would be
Hmm.
your main goal, and I think that's a good goal to start with. Especially like I said, it ties right into work, and eventually you can kind of eventually have some time to choose if you want to move to California or not.
Yeah.
A lot of things weighing on that.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for coming in and allowing me to record
Yeah.
you. All
Thank you.
right, and we'll talk next session.
Thank you.